Boy, here's a question that I've gotten 182 times since you and I started doing the podcast. B at LFC fan 1982 on Twitter says, why is John always portrayed as a bully? When listening to him on the podcast and how he handles himself overall, I think most of us have a different opinion of him now after listening to these podcasts. You know, that is something that I get peppered with all the time since we started doing this show. Man, I decided I would never listen. And then my friend said that, no, you should listen. And I hated him, but man, I really like him on the podcast. And I've always felt like when I first met you, like, man, what a great job you did at portraying that character on TV. But I guess there is this narrative out there where, you know, tell a friend, telegram, tell a wrestler, whatever it is. And so now these legends just grow and these stories take on a life of their own. But if I was a heel, I don't know that I ever would have tried to change that narrative. Oh, you mean I'm an asshole? Well, I wanted you to boo. I don't think I'll challenge that. Keep thinking I'm an asshole. Is that what happened, or is there more to it than this?
I think there's probably more to it, but that's a lot what happened. You know, and there's a couple things. One, I was always a heel, so I didn't want to correct people and say, oh, by the way, I'm a good guy. I think you just come across terrible when you say that. I think it kills any type of heat you have. So, I mean, there was a story a while back that I was mean to Chris Canyon because he was gay. And there's a couple real issues with that. I mean, number one, I marched in the first gay pride parade in Bermuda. I'm a huge advocate for equality in gay marriage. I don't care who you marry. Ain't none of my damn business. So that's a big issue. A bigger issue was no one knew he was gay.
Right.
He was there. No one knew. You know, people talk about, you know, the Undertaker did this or then that. Nobody knew, you know, and nobody would have cared, by the way. I mean, absolutely 100% wouldn't have cared. But if I come out and say, oh, wait a minute, I'm really a good guy. I marched in the gay pride parade. I'm actually for equality. And all of a sudden you just look like a freaking douche by trying to defend yourself or rewrite history. And so a lot of that is, a lot of that's me not taking anybody to task over it and letting stuff run rampant. In some cases, even fueling the flames a little bit. And some of it could be true. I'm not trying to rewrite history. I'm not trying to rewrite my legacy. Whatever I did, I did. And, you know, I hope I wasn't an asshole, but if I was, I've apologized to most people. As you live long enough and you have a good time, you do things that you regret. But a lot of these things, you know, some are myth, you know, and some are just, you know, it's me not wanting to get into a fight on Twitter and say, hey, I didn't do that, or I did do this, or anything about that.
I want to be clear too. You know, we just talked about the Mauro Ranallo circumstance a couple of weeks ago here on the show, and I knew what really happened when it happened. And you and I, you know, I don't know that we ever even had a real conversation, but we know that story was about someone else. That was never about you. But the online narrative became that it was about you, and you never corrected it because that would have meant. And anyone who's listened to this show for more than 2 episodes since you've been with us knows that you're not going to throw anybody under the bus. Nope. What you're not going to do is stooge off anyone or fade the heat to anyone. And it is what it is. So you just took the L on that one. And the people who know, well, that's not true. Ask Mauro. That's not what happened.
Right.
But the internet went crazy with it. But because you didn't say, oh, no, actually, it wasn't me. It was so-and-so, which is what respectfully a lot of other people would do. You just took it on the chin and it just grows. And I don't know. I don't think you've been given a fair shake. And I think the listeners of this show now realize that.
That's very kind. And you know, a lot of it was, you know, we ribbed incessantly and a lot of it, I outgrew my generation. I outlived my generation. You know, our generation, we ribbed all the time and we thought it was fun, you know, and was it hazing? Could have been. Yeah, it might have been. Was it too strong? Of course it was at times. Anytime you do stuff like that, inherently you're going to get too strong. But I didn't care if I was the one being ribbed. I'm like Bart a lot in that respect. You know, I didn't care if I was the one being ribbed. I didn't care if you were the one being ribbed. I just wanted to be entertained. We were bored. We didn't have internet. We didn't have a lot of stuff. And so a lot of that just came about by, you know, I think people misinterpreting. I don't know that. I don't know that for sure. The only person you can talk to is the people that have made these claims. And again, I've never wanted to address the claims because you look like such a douche when you go, oh, hey, listen, that didn't happen. And it looks like you're apologizing for stuff. And I didn't think that was what I want to do. It's certainly not what I want to do. I can spend a lot of my time trying to correct the perception of people I don't know on the internet, but that's not going to change my life at all. The only thing that's going to change is, what I'm doing next. And I've always had kind of this forward looking thing, and I've never really cared, what people have said, sometimes to my detriment, and again, sometimes the true story involved other people, and I'm not going to put that out there because I'm not going to throw anybody else under the bus. There were things I took heat for because I didn't want anybody else to take that heat, because I thought I'm not going to do that to a friend. And I took heat that was more than what I should have taken, but not more than I should have taken. It's what you should have taken because you're a friend.
Well, we also know just how this clickbait society works. I mean, the reality is, what video is going to get more clicks? Buff Bagwell saying that you hurt him and stiffed him and took liberties with him, or Buff Bagwell talking about your charity work with sports programs for underprivileged kids and marching in gay pride parades. And I mean, it's just, it is what it is. And some people just have a hard on for you, and that's okay, because hopefully they used our promo code and they went to bluechew.com. Here we go. We got another question.
Conrad, one thing that you brought up is so true is, I would use a lot of that, especially back in the day, as fodder for being a heel. We would always, like, I threw Miz out of the dressing room. I wasn't even there when Miz got thrown out of the dressing room. But storyline wise, I took credit for it.
Why not?
But for years, people go, "Why'd you bully the Miz? Why'd you bully the Miz?" As Davey Boy would say, I wasn't even there. I really wasn't. But when he got thrown out of the dressing room, which did happen, they gave me credit for it because it was fit into my character. And a lot of that happened like that. There was a lot of that. I'm sure. Look, I'm not above reproach, and I'm not trying to whitewash. I'm not trying to clean up an image. I'm not trying to do nothing. If you think I'm a jerk, that is your opinion, and you're welcome to that opinion. I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to change it.
Lindsay's with us here live, part of our live studio audience, and she wants to know, has there ever been anything Bruce has said on this podcast that you flat out disagree with, or a story that he's told that you dispute a little bit?
No, me and Gerald Briscoe love to say Bruce invented the headlock, invented wrestling, and all this different stuff, because Bruce conflates some stories sometimes, as we all do. Nothing major. I mean, nothing major, nothing malicious. Yes, with some facts wrong here or there. Yeah, some minor stuff. I remember when guys did a story on me and said I was a 2-time all conference. And so I started 2 years. I started 4 years. I'm freaking consensus All-American. And I'm like, you know what? I don't care. It's just, it's nothing, and nothing is significantly important. The main thing with Bruce, and the main thing is like with you and with so many guys, there's no malice intended.
No.
Zero. I mean, I'd say stuff all the time. I heard Dutch tell a story about me and him being somewhere, and we weren't there. Dutch isn't lying.
Yes.
Now, he's not representing what happened, but Dutch isn't telling a story.
His intent is not to deceive.
His intent is not to deceive. We talked about that so much. Dutch just over the years, I think, remembered us being there. That's not a big deal. It's not material to the story. Is it factually wrong? Yeah, but who cares? It's 30 years ago. Same with Bruce. There's no malice there. There's no something, hey, I'm going to say this to try to change my legacy. I'm going to change this to try to change history. I'm going to try to change this to make me look better. Facts get conflated. We were on the road every single night. And did it matter to us if it was Detroit, Cleveland, LA, or Sacramento? It didn't matter to us. We didn't remember stuff because of that. We remembered events. And sometimes you can picture the dressing room, but not really remember the arena that you were in. But you certainly don't. I remember that time we were in Stockton and we did this. That just didn't matter to us.